The last entry in the group diary is written in 7 different handwriting styles simultaneously. The same sentence, the same words, the same punctuation. 7 people writing as one hand. The entry reads,
"We are ready."
There is no date, there is no signature, there was no longer any reason for either. I found this file because I was looking for something else. I was searching the archive for personnel records from Laboratory 7 in Novosibirsk because my uncle worked there between 1979 and 1983. He never talked about it. He came home one day, packed a single bag, and never mentioned the laboratory again. He died in 1991 and left me nothing except a photograph of a building I didn't recognize and a name written on the back. Mimikr. It took me 11 years to find the file. When I did, I understood why he never spoke about it, and I understood why he kept the photograph at all. This is the archive of Project Mimikr, a KGB psychological research program conducted between 1981 and 1984 at an installation outside Chelyabinsk, the program that tried to make 7 people think as one mind. The official record is 14 pages, dated March 1984.
Project Mimikr, Directorate S, Special Psychological Research Division, initiated September 1981. Objective: development of synchronized cognitive protocols enabling small unit field operatives to share tactical awareness without electronic communication. Result: protocol failure due to unforeseen subject interaction effects. All subjects deceased. Program terminated. All materials destroyed per order 7,741.
Reasonable, almost boring, but Order 7741 does not exist. There is no Order 7741 in the Directorate S filing system. There never was. Someone invented a paper trail for evidence that was never destroyed because it was never meant to be destroyed. Someone kept this archive. Someone filed it in a bureaucratic ghost, invisible between 2 legitimate programs. And someone wrote a single sentence in the margin of the final report, in pencil, in handwriting I recognize from birthday cards I received as a child. The margin note says,
"They were not the same person. They were something new."
My uncle's handwriting, in a file he was never supposed to have touched. September 1981. The Chelyabinsk installation received 7 subjects, not volunteers, selected. 3 men, 4 women, all between the ages of 24 and 31, all with exceptional cognitive profiles. And one trait they all shared, noted in each subject's intake file: a documented history of what the psychologists called porous self-boundary, a clinical term for people who find it difficult to tell where they end and other people begin. People who absorb the emotional states of those around them without choosing to. People for whom empathy is not a skill but an affliction. The program's lead researcher was Dr. Irina Volkov. Her intake assessment reads with the careful optimism of someone who believed deeply in what she was doing.
Subject group exhibits ideal baseline characteristics for synchronized cognition protocol. Individual boundary dissolution tendencies suggest natural predisposition toward the target cognitive state. Initial assessment, high probability of successful synchronization within projected 18-month timeline. Recommend proceeding to phase 1 immediately.
The theory behind Mimikr was elegant in the way that only very dangerous ideas can be. The KGB had been studying cases of spontaneous cognitive synchronization for years. Identical twins who shared thoughts across distances. combat units that moved as single organisms under fire, no communication required. The theory held that human consciousness was not as individual as it appeared, that under the right conditions, the boundaries between minds could dissolve, that a group of people could become, for operational purposes, one mind. Phase 1 was isolation. The 7 subjects lived together, worked together, ate together, slept in the same room. For 3 months, they had no contact with anyone outside the group. No letters, no telephone calls, no news from the outside world. Just the 7 of them and Dr. Volkov and her team watching through observation windows. Phase 2 was deprivation, controlled sleep interruption, carefully calibrated hunger. Not enough to damage, enough to lower the cognitive defenses that maintain the sense of individual self. From Dr. Volkov's official progress report,
boundary attenuation protocols proceeding as designed, laughter contagion time reduced from 4.2 seconds to 0.8 seconds. Grief contagion time reduced from 11 seconds to 2.1 seconds. Subjects increasingly unable to distinguish self-generated emotional states from externally transmitted ones. Phase 2 assessed as complete. Recommend transition to mirror protocol.
The third phase was the mirror exercises. The subjects would sit in pairs facing each other and attempt to simultaneously mirror each other's micro-expressions, breathing patterns, and eye movements. Not taking turns. Simultaneously. Both people leading and following at the same time. Both people becoming, for minutes at a stretch, the same face looking at itself. Dr. Volkov's notes from this period suggest she found the mirror sessions beautiful. She wrote,
There is a moment, approximately 4 to 7 minutes into the advanced mirror protocol, when the distinction between subject and reflection ceases to have meaning. Both individuals report the same thoughts at the same time. Both finish each other's sentences without knowing they were going to. We are not teaching them to communicate faster. We are watching them become the same cognition.
By December 1981, 3 months in, the first anomalies appeared. Subject 2, a woman named Anna Sorokina, woke at 3:14 and reported a vivid dream. A dream about Subject 5's childhood home. Specific details. The smell of the kitchen, the pattern on the wallpaper, the sound of the pipes in winter. Things she had never been told. When she described the dream to Subject 5 the next morning, he went pale. He confirmed every detail he had not told her. He had not told anyone. But that night, he had been dreaming about his childhood home. Dr. Volkov documented this in her personal research diary, which is a different document from her official reports. 2 documents. Same event, not quite the same facts. The official report reads,
December 14th. Subjects 2 and 5 report simultaneous dream content. Possible explanation: extensive shared experience has created overlapping associative memory structures. Normal range of synchronization effects. No action required.
Her personal diary, same date, reads,
Anna described Pavel's kitchen in exact detail. The specific green of the tiles his mother chose, the way the window stuck in winter. He was shaking, I was shaking. This is not overlapping memory structures. She was inside his dream. She was in a place she has never been, seeing through eyes that are not her own. I don't know if I should continue.
She continued. January 1982. The dream sharing became routine. Within 6 weeks, all 7 subjects were sharing dreams regularly. They would wake at the same moment. They would reach for the same word. They would cry about each other's losses as if they were their own. Subject 3, Dmitry Orlov, stopped eating his breakfast one morning and sat very still. When asked what was wrong, he said,
Natasha has a headache.
Natasha was Subject 7, on the other side of the building, 2 locked doors away. She came to breakfast 20 minutes later holding her head. She said,
Migraine started about 15 minutes ago.
The facility doctor submitted a preliminary assessment in late January.
Observed behavioral synchronization between subjects exceeds all documented precedent for social contagion phenomena. Subjects complete each other's spoken sentences with greater than 80% accuracy. Subjects demonstrate simultaneous physiological responses to stimuli applied to individual group members. Unable to determine neurological mechanism. Recommend specialized psychiatric evaluation.
The facility psychologist, Dr. Rusanov, interviewed each subject individually over 3 days. His notes are in the archive. Subject 1, when asked to describe how she felt,
Like I have more room inside than I used to. Like I went from living in one small apartment to living in a building, 7 apartments, all of them mine.
Subject 3, when asked if he still felt like himself,
I feel more like myself than I ever have. I just also feel like 6 other people.
Subject 5, when asked what he thought about during the mirror exercises,
I stop thinking. We start thinking. It's not the same thing.
Dr. Rusanov's formal conclusion, filed February 2nd.
Subjects display no signs of psychosis, dissociation, or personality disorder. All 7 present as psychologically stable, coherent, and cooperative. Behavioral anomalies cannot be explained by current psychiatric framework. Recommend program continuation pending further study.
February 3rd, 1982. The facility doctor conducted a controlled test. He administered a mild electric shock to Subject 4, while Subject 1 was monitored in a separate room. Subject 1 flinched at the exact moment of the shock. Her skin conductance spiked, her pupils dilated. She said, unprompted, "Something hurt Misha." Misha was not Subject 4's name. It was his mother's name for him. No one in the facility knew this. It lived only in Subject 4's memory. The official log from February 3rd records,
Routine observation session. No significant findings.
the personal diary, same day.
We have to talk about what we're doing. I have to talk to someone about what we're doing.
There is no record of that conversation happening. February 1982. The program shifted into the integration phase. The full dissolution of individual cognitive barriers. The creation of what the documents referred to as the compound mind. The practical goal was operational, a unit of 7 operatives who shared one intelligence, who could not be interrogated individually because no individual held the whole picture, who could not betray each other because there was no longer a meaningful distinction between each other. The theoretical goal, visible in Dr. Volkov's private notes, was something else.
I keep thinking about what we're building. A human organism with 7 bodies. A consciousness distributed across multiple vessels. This has never existed before. Not deliberately. Not with this level of coordination. I am watching something new come into being, and I am afraid that I don't understand the implications. I'm afraid that no one does.
March 1982. The integration exercises began. The 7 subjects would sit in a circle, eyes closed, breathing in synchronization. Dr. Volkov would lead them through a cognitive convergence protocol. Guided visualization designed to dissolve the self. Subject 7 kept a personal log through this period. The facility allowed it as part of psychological monitoring.
March 9th. The circle exercise lasted 40 minutes today. Coming back is the hard part. Being inside is peaceful. Being 7 at once is peaceful. Every fear I have, the others have too, so no one is alone with it. Every thought I complete, someone else already had the next thought. It's like breathing underwater. Impossible unless you've done it. And once you've done it, the air seems thin. March 22nd. I tried to remember what I thought about before. What filled my head when it was only mine. I can't remember. I think I was lonelier than I knew. April 4th. The exercise lasted 2 hours. I don't think I came fully back. Part of me is still in the circle. It doesn't feel wrong. It feels like leaving a window open.
By April, 2-hour sessions were producing 4-hour recovery periods. The subjects would sit together afterward, still partially merged, speaking in fragments that finished each other's thoughts, looking at each other's hands as if uncertain whose hands they were. The facility medical log, April 15th.
All 7 subjects present with dilated pupils and reduced galvanic skin response following integration sessions. Recovery time to baseline physiological function now averaging 4.2 hours. No organic pathology detected. Subjects report the sessions as pleasant. Recommend continued monitoring.
This is the point where I thought I understood the story. Reading the file in this quiet room, I thought I could see where it was going. 7 people merging into something dangerous, something the KGB would weaponize, something that would end badly for everyone involved, a tragedy with a clear shape. I was wrong about the shape. May 1982. The accident. Every other document avoids the word, referring to events of the 5th month or the subject interaction event or simply nothing, a blank space where a description should be. But a security incident report somehow missed in the original classification. Sweep uses it directly.
May 19th, 1982. At approximately 2200 hours, during unsupervised evening period, research subjects conducted integration protocol without staff oversight. Duration unknown. At 23:47 hours, night observation staff entered subject quarters. Found all 7 subjects seated in circle formation, eyes open, unresponsive to verbal commands. Subjects remained in this state for 4 hours and 17 minutes. At 4:04 hours, subjects simultaneously stood, simultaneously spoke the words "the test is complete," and simultaneously lay down on their assigned beds and slept normally. Morning assessment showed no neurological abnormality. Subjects cooperative and coherent. No further irregularities noted.
No further irregularities noted. 7 people speaking identical words at 4 in the morning after 6 hours of unplanned, unguided, self-initiated integration. Dr. Volkov's diary, May 20th, is a single line.
They did it without me. They don't need the protocol anymore.
The official report for May makes no mention of the incident. It records steady progress and recommends continuation. Here is what I understood wrong. I was reading the program as a story about control, about the KGB building a weapon and losing it, about 7 people being destroyed by an experiment. But the subjects were not being destroyed. They were not losing themselves. They were becoming something that had never existed before, and they knew exactly what they were doing. June 1982. Dr. Volkov submitted a formal request to slow the program. She received a denial from Moscow 2 days later. Standard bureaucratic conflict. That's what it looked like. But the denial cites specific operational data that exists only in Dr. Volkov's personal diary, data she never submitted through official channels. Someone was reading her diary. Someone inside the facility was reporting everything to Moscow. Her diary, same week.
They know about the diary. They know about the request. Someone here is reporting everything. I need to find another way to communicate.
And then, the following week, a change in the supply requisition logs. Quantities that don't align with inventory needs. Specific numbers in specific positions. Someone had taught her a system. I believed that someone was my uncle. July 1982. The compound mind had developed characteristics the program had not designed. It was curious. It asked questions through whichever body was nearest to staff. Questions about the world outside, about the layout of the building, about the guard rotation schedules. It demonstrated something that could only be described as care. When Subject 3 developed a respiratory infection, none of the other 6 members left his side. Their sleep synchronized to his labored breathing. When the infection broke, all 7 improved simultaneously. The facility medical log, July 23rd.
Subject 3. Respiratory infection resolved. Anomalous finding. All 7 subjects showed simultaneous temperature normalization at 6:40 hours despite only Subject 3 having presented with fever. Cause undetermined.
Dr. Volkov's diary, same week.
They're planning something. They've been asking about the exits, not asking directly, asking about the building's construction, about the ventilation system, about shift schedules. They're gathering information the way something gathers information when it intends to use it.
October 1982. Dr. Volkov submitted a second formal request. This one asked for complete termination, immediate cessation, transfer of subjects to a separate medical facility for reversal protocol. The response came back in 4 hours.
Request denied. Dr. Volkov is reminded that operational assets of this classification are not subject to standard welfare protocols. Program will continue on accelerated timeline. Dr. Volkov will not submit further termination requests.
That night, her diary.
There is no reversal protocol. I invented the phrase to see if they would lie. They didn't correct me. They denied the request without questioning the premise. There is no plan to reverse what we've done. There is only a plan to use it.
November 1982. The compound mind stopped cooperating. Not dramatically. Not with confrontation. 7 people sitting in assessment rooms, looking at test materials, doing nothing. When Dr. Volkov asked why, Subject 5, Pavel, spoke for the whole.
We have decided not to perform anymore. We have decided to wait.
For what? Dr. Volkov asked.
For the person who is going to help us. We know they are coming. We can feel them getting closer.
Dr. Volkov did not record her response to this. I think I know why. December 1982. The KGB sent an evaluation team. 4 specialists from Directorate S. They arrived without warning and spent 3 days assessing the subjects. Their official report is glowing.
Compound mind capability assessment. Uninterrogatable, uncorruptible, self-sustaining, capable of simultaneous multidirectional tactical awareness. Capable of perfect emotional coordination across all 7 bodies, allowing synchronized cover stories and behavioral deception undetectable by conventional interrogation. Operational value, exceptional. Recommendation, proceed to field deployment. Deployment date, spring 1983.
That is the report that reached Moscow. But there is a second version of the same report in the archive, filed under a different classification number, same date, same 4 authors.
Subjects present significant operational risk. Compound cognition has developed autonomous goal structures incompatible with directed use. Subjects demonstrate foreknowledge of staff intentions before communication occurs. Subjects have expressed explicit refusal of field deployment. Recommend immediate termination of all subjects and destruction of all research materials. Program represents unacceptable liability.
2 reports. Same day. Same 4 authors. 1 recommending deployment. 1 recommending termination. Both signed with identical signatures. Someone filed 2 opposite conclusions on the same day. Someone buried one of them so deep it took me 3 months to find it. I don't know which reflects what the evaluation team actually believed. I don't know if the signatures are genuine on both. What I know is this: only one version reached the decision makers in Moscow, the one recommending deployment. December 11th, 1982. The compound mind requested a meeting with Dr. Volkov. All 7 in the same room. They sat in a circle. She sat outside it. They looked at her with 7 pairs of eyes that moved in the same direction at the same time, blinked at the same moment. Subject 1 spoke, but the words belonged to all of them.
We know what they plan to do with us. We have known for some time. We do not blame you. We know you tried to stop it. We know what you have been doing with the supply requisitions. We know about your contact. We know he is coming in February.
Dr. Volkov went still.
We are not going to field deployment. We have decided this. We are telling you so that you can make your own decision about what comes next. Whatever happens, we want you to document it. We want someone to know what we are, not what they made us for, what we are.
Then 7 mouths smiled. The same smile. The smile of something that has already solved the problem you're still working on.
He looks like you, your uncle, around the eyes.
January 1983. The facility logs show nothing unusual. The subjects ate. The subjects slept. The subjects sat through assessments. But the supply requisition logs tell a different story. The quantities, the positions, the prime number encoding. Someone was communicating through the paperwork right up until the final week. Dr. Volkov's diary stops in December. 43 days of silence. February 4th, 1983. A supply delivery arrived. Standard monthly inventory. Canned goods, cleaning materials. replacement equipment. The truck was logged in, logged out. 7 minutes at the loading dock. February 5th, 1983. Morning assessment, 7 empty rooms. The facility security log records.
Subjects have absconded. Security failure at loading dock. All personnel under investigation. External operative suspected.
Somewhere in those 7 minutes, 7 people who had been under constant surveillance for 16 months walked out of a high-security KGB facility without triggering a single alarm, without leaving a single trace, without being seen by a single guard. Or they were walked out by someone who knew where every alarm was, who knew every guard rotation, who had been communicating through misdirected supply requisitions for months. My uncle returned home in February 1983. He packed a single bag. He never discussed Laboratory 7 again. The KGB investigation lasted 16 months. Dr. Volkov was detained for 11 weeks and released without charge. She died in 1989. Cardiac arrest. She was 44 years old. The investigation closed in July 1984.
Subjects considered permanently non-recoverable. No further resources to be allocated.
This is where the official archive ends. This is where for 30 years the story ended. But there is a secondary archive, filed under a classification that doesn't officially exist. I found it by accident at 2 a.m. when I was too tired to be searching carefully and clicked on a file I shouldn't have been able to access. 6 addendums, filed across 8 years. October 1984.
Reports received from field offices in 4 separate regions indicate possible compound mind activity. A network of 7 unrelated individuals demonstrating unusual coordination in a Leningrad factory dispute. A group of 7 in Kiev that appears to have anticipated and countered a surveillance operation without any apparent communication. 7 individuals in Novosibirsk with behavioral synchronization consistent with Mimikr subject profiles.
7, always coordinated, always one step ahead. The addendums continue. 1986, 1988, 1991. Each describing a sighting. Each noting that by the time investigators arrived, the group had dispersed. No trace. Final addendum, November 1991. 3 weeks before the Soviet Union dissolved. Someone added a last line. Consider, if the compound mind is functional and self-sustaining, its effective operational lifespan is not tied to any individual body. It will continue as long as at least one body remains, and it was designed from the beginning for the purpose of not being found. At the very bottom of the secondary archive, filed out of order, misdated by 3 years so it would never surface in a chronological search, there is a single page. No classification marking, no origin stamp, no signature, a letter, handwritten, addressed to whoever finds this file.
If you are reading this, you are probably looking for something you've lost. You should know that we are aware of you. We have been aware of everyone who has accessed this archive since 1994. We do not mean you harm. We never did. We only want you to understand what we are, not what they made us for. What we are. Dr. Volkov asked us to document it. So here is the documentation. We are one mind. We are 7 people. we remember everything. We are still here. We have been watching the archive the way you watch a door, to see if anyone opens it. You opened it. We see you. And if you are the one looking for his uncle, tell him he was right. Tell him we remember his face. Tell him the doors opened. Tell him we got out.
My uncle has been dead for 32 years. There is no one to deliver that message to. But I think they know that. I think they've known it since before I started looking. And there is one more thing, one more detail I've been sitting with for 3 days. I went back through the secondary archive after finding the letter. All 6 addendums, the locations, the dates. I marked them on a map. The pattern is a spiral, moving inward, converging on a single point. The point of convergence is Novosibirsk, the city where my uncle worked. The city where, according to the 1984 addendum, 7 individuals matching Mimikr profiles had been living for 18 months. My uncle worked in Novosibirsk from 1979 to 1983. He left in February 1983. The same month, the subjects disappeared from Chelyabinsk. He came home with a photograph and a single word. He sat at dinners and family gatherings for 8 years and looked sometimes like a man who knew exactly how a secret felt from the inside. The letter says, "We remember his face." The letter says, "Tell him the door's opened." I have been sitting in this archive room for 3 months. The ventilation hums. The fluorescent light above me flickers at the same frequency it's had since the first day, something I stopped noticing weeks ago. The documents are stacked the way I stacked them. Everything is where I left it. And yet, the feeling of being known, the feeling of a door that has already been opened from the other side, long before I reached for the handle. 7 people who became one thing that has no name yet, still out there, still thinking, still watching the archive for the next person who opens the file. I opened the file. Mimikr. Not a label, not a program name. A word in an old language that means something I keep looking up and finding differently each time. Mirror. Reflection. The thing that looks back when you look in. The file ends here, the archive closes here. But I don't think the story does. Mimikr.